Welcome guys, welcome back to the channel. March 29th, that's the day's date, that's what the video is called, and I have a table full of 1911s. Can you think why? Some of you know, some of you don't, and that's fine. March 29th is the day the United States military adopted the 1911 in 1911. So that's what we're going to talk about, a little bit of commemorative of the pistol. I also have a radio show, just me and a buddy of mine sitting there jaw flapping a bit. You know, check that out too if you have the if you want to check it out. I admire anybody who makes it through the whole thing, but you know, it's just something to celebrate and talk about. Definitely with the 1911 being a special date today. This is the adoption. This is when the day it was adopted by the United States military in March 29th, 1911. So let's talk about it. What I got here, and this is we'll get into this nice blue box here, but move that aside for now. What I've got here is an original. This is a 1918 model, and this has definitely got some wear on it, and it's got some character, and it's still you can barely see it, but it still says United States property and everything on it, and the patent dates and everything, and the Colt stamp, and then on the other side it says model of the U.S. Army. So this one's a very old gun. It still shoots. I fired it. It shoots really well actually, considering, but you know, it's worn. The barrel's worn on it, and it's just it's an old war horse, that's for sure. But that's the cool thing about it. Here we are talking about, you know, March 29th, 1911, and this is pretty much, I mean, this is what they had. You see, everything now is a little more dressed up. You know, you see a lot of these companies making 1911s in what they call a mil spec. You know, and like here's my Kimber, and you can see it's a lot different than this one here. You know, but other than that, it's the same gun, but it's a little bit different. You know, some of the things that they originally had back then, you know, they had the longer trigger, but they had no scalloping on the frame. That's a big difference there. That came out later in the A1 series for World War II. Like this A1 has the scalloping and everything, but yeah, they cut out the frame there later, but this one doesn't have it. It says a flat yet smooth mainspring housing. They still kept the lanyard loop that carried on, but it's flat and smooth. The beaver tail is hardly any. There's really just nothing there. So what happens is you get hammer bite. The hammer is that big wide spur hammer, and it'll come back and give you a little pinch when firing it. But of course, that's the last thing you're thinking about when these boys were running through trenches and stuff and fighting the Germans at the time. The vertical serrations, you don't even have a low ejection wall. It's very high. They weren't thinking about reloading back then. And the sights are very terrible. The sights are just, it's like a pin. It's trying to put a like a thread through a needle, you know, the eye of the needle. It really is. The front sight's a very thin blade. The rear sight's got barely a notch cut into it. Of course, in the A1 later, they fixed that. They widened up the rear sight, and they made the front sight a little bit thicker, so you get somewhat of a sights to use. But of course, you know, the way they were, you know, and that was the thing, was they were trained to shoot one-handed, very much like the shirt I've got, right? Yeah, kind of a cool shirt. Figure I'd break this shirt out again. It showed up in my very first video that we did back in July 4th. So with this gun right here. Anyway, but yeah, back to this old original baby. You know, they call them the war babies or whatnot, and it's a real dream to have. So, and then of course, Colt had reintroduced the gun. They went back and they made what they call their replica of it, and this one here is an exact copy of the old war gun right there. It's basically, it's made by Colt, and who better than to make an anniversary replica of it is Colt themselves. And they did it right down to the T. I mean, down to the grips and everything, and all the the specs on it that one has. This one definitely shares and has, and I've picked this thing up. I remember searching for one of these for quite a while, and I finally lucked out and found it in a shop, my friend's shop there, and he had it, and I bought it. And it's a really cool gun because it's an exact copy of the war gun, and I shoot it and I enjoy it, and it's really cool to have that kind of nostalgic feel and everything for it, and go out there and shoot it. You know, and much like other people said, not to even rip off on them or anything, but it's true though. If I had to choose a 1911 to have, it'd be this one, just because of what it is, and it's the original configuration with the original roll marks on it, United States property, the rampant Colt on it and everything, and this one's really special. I like this gun a lot. It's one of my favorite guns, and it comes in this blue box. Colt made a very limited run on these. This is not the 100-year anniversary one that has the adopted this is the World War I reproduction or replica, so it has the World War I type stamps on it and everything. And of course the box that they ship them in, and I got some accessories in there and stuff from it. But that's really a cool thing, you know, that have it and shoot it and be able to do it. And we got a couple of range videos with it. I should do a tabletop review with this thing because we didn't really quite get a nice up close look at it like we should, but we'll try to get that on the channel and everything like that. But so, you know, that's pretty much, you know, just wanted to show you the 1911, talk about it because today's the day it was adopted, March 29th and everything. So, you know, got some of the original ones out here and everything, and kind of shows you the evolution of it with the newer Kimber. And pretty much now everybody makes a 1911. It's kind of interesting now, but you know, if you are a gun collector or a gun enthusiast, you've got to have a 1911, right? You know, if you are into guns and you collect guns and you have a collection of guns and you don't have a 1911, you don't have one of these things, get to a gun shop, buy one, get one. You know, doesn't necessarily have to be a Colt. I do like Colts, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a Colt, but you should just get a 1911. There's everybody makes one now, so there's a lot to choose from. When it comes to the classic stuff, I tend to stick to my Colts. I really like the Colt 1911 because nothing says Colt 45 like the Colt 45.